Yeah, yo, what's going on, guys? Seth Spartan here. So, guys, we are back today with another submit YouTube video request. As always, if you guys want me to do a YouTube video on whatever, go ahead and go to sethspartan.com and go to submit YouTube video request. It is only $20 as of right now. Anyways, guys, let's jump into the video. All right, so this guy, he wants me to refer to him as V. Doesn't usually I leave the last names out, but you know, this guy prefers for me not even to use his first name, so we'll respect that. We'll do that. So what V wants me to talk about and do is he is requesting that I do a video analyzing a full panel bodybuilding blood test. All right, and he wants me to recommend an optimal off-season cycle with an emphasis on health and natural testosterone and fertility. All right, so guys, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's answer this video for V, and here we go. All right, guys, so I've got his lab work up here and basically everything he sent me. So I'm going to post it. I'll post it up in this hand corner of the screen so you guys can follow along and take a look at what I'm viewing on my phone. So let's jump into it. Let's go through his lab. So first and foremost, we have hematology. Let's see here. Kind of strange. It's spelled wrong, or maybe that's just how they spell it in Australia. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so let's go through this. So glancing through all the values here, you know, from platelets to hemoglobin, white blood cell counts, there's really nothing, you know, density, everything from hematocrit, hemoglobin, there's no issues here on this first slide. You know, everything looks normal, everything's within the normal range, and there's nothing that really pops out. And oh yeah, and even at the bottom it says parameters are within reference range. So is his hemoglobin even high? It's really not high at all for a male. You know, if I was just looking at this alone, honestly guys, if I was just looking at this alone, I would have guessed, you know, this guy has never even cycled or used anything before. Okay, whether through a doctor or not through a doctor, hasn't used anything if I was just looking at this. All right, moving on to the second slide, number 2. Here we go. All right, we got lipid studies, lipid panel next. All right, so guys, let's look through his lipids. Let's see what is going on, if anything's off. So let's see here. Fasting, total cholesterol, perfect. Triglycerides, actually a little bit lower. His triglycerides are a little bit lower in the normal range. You know, whether that's, you know, genetics, good diet, probably both are playing a part here. HDL is a little bit low. Is it anything worth really stressing about in the least? No. He could easily bring his HDL up a little bit by eating healthy fats, things like, you know, egg yolks, even butter can bring your HDL up. And that's a video we'll have to talk on. We'll have to talk about, you know, actually, you know, well, all animal fats are good, so to speak. This is something I'm going to have to talk about in another video, but things like even butter has a lot of really healthy fats in it. Anyways, HDL is a little bit low. Again, we'll have to do a video on that, talking about how to bring HDL up. But you know, just looking at this, you know, everything's perfect. Total cholesterol, triglycerides are a little low. HDL is a little bit low, and the triglycerides, is it low? No, it's still within the normal range, and even there, you know, it's healthy. Okay, there's nothing that really needs to be done about the triglycerides. But one thing that I want to point out, guys, is that his triglycerides and his total cholesterol being a little bit lower in the normal range, this right away, even without seeing his testosterone level, guys, this is what's really cool about blood work. Just looking at his cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL and LDL, I can easily see right away that, not for 100% certainty, but guys, I can see, you know, just looking at, you know, again, I work for Prometheus HRT, Hormone Replacement Clinic, and I've looked at a lot of this stuff, but just looking at this right away at his lipid profile, I can probably guess that he's going to have lower testosterone. Now, is that always the case? No, there's exceptions, but typically, guys, I'm going to say 8 times out of 10, you can look at somebody's lipid panel and you should be able to determine, if they're going to have lower or higher testosterone. Just because what? You guys already know what I'm going to say, right? If there's any experienced people out there in the bodybuilding, fitness, athletic industry, you already know what I'm going to say. Cholesterol, and this is the truth, the scientific truth of the matter is that, got something on my leg, this is the scientific truth of the matter is this, guys, is that cholesterol is the raw component for testosterone. The cholesterol you have floating around your bloodstream, the testicles suck up and they spit out testosterone. So not always, but I'm going to say like 8 times out of 10, if you look at somebody's lipid profile and they're you go through it and you look and you see, hey, their cholesterol is lower. What does that mean? 8 times out of 10, that's also going to mean lower testosterone levels. So let's keep going. So looking at this, there's nothing else to note. Moving on, serum chemistry. Sodium, potassium chloride, bicarbonate, union, anion gap, urea. There's creatinine, glomerular. He's got great kidneys. You can tell this, by the glomerular filtration rate, although that can be thrown off by creatinine levels. If someone's eating a ton of meat or using creatine, then that glomerular filtration rate is not going to be very accurate, okay? But, just looking at all the values here, he's got really good kidneys. So good job on that front. Besides that, guys, AST, ALT, perfect, super low, great kidneys, great liver, and really there's nothing else worth noting here, okay? Everything looks perfect. Prolactin, perfect. Everything's perfect on this panel, and with a note of great kidneys, great liver from what I can tell from blood work. Moving on, next slide. Let's keep this coming. Otherwise I talk too long and too much. I know you guys like to listen to me talk. I'll do some pec flex, hang on. Yeah, I'm lean, look good, and thankful for that, all right? We're just, this is the best guys I've ever looked on TRT. We can talk about that in another video. I'm going to get distracted. All right, let's keep going through his video request here. Let's look at hormone profile. Ooh, this is what you guys have been waiting for, the hormone profile. Where's this guy at? Let's look at testosterone, growth hormone, IGF-1. Here we go. Now we get to the fun stuff. All right, so serum hormone profile. Let's see here. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. That's what your brain produces to increase sperm production. That is high. Well, not like above the normal range, but it's a higher level. So that's good. LH 4.4. That's luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone is what the brain produces to tell the testicles to produce testosterone. That's not high. That's about, that's not higher in the normal range, so to speak. That's normal. Progesterone, everything is great. Estrogen, great. Well, actually, estrogen is a little bit higher than it should be. Is it a big deal? No, not really. It's a little bit higher, but it's not far out of the normal range, so to speak. And this can be, things, this is diet, exercise, and also one other thing, guys, the more body fat you have, if somebody's completely natural, the more body fat you have, the higher estrogen is going to tend to go. Why? Because, a lot of the estrogen conversion can actually occur in fat tissue from what I remember studying. All right, so everything here looks great, looks perfect, besides the estrogen that's too high, and that can be fixed by getting leaner, better diet, and exercise. And a lot of the time your estrogen can creep up, not just because you have more body fat, but also because somebody is eating way too much soy, and also full fat dairy. Okay, just because the estrogen can bind to full fat dairy. I love full fat dairy though, by the way. That's okay, point taken. Let's move on. Let's look at glucose is great. Moving on to the next slide. Now we get into even more fun stuff. Oh yeah, here we go. Moving on. Let's see here. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, perfect. FT4, perfect. FT3, a little bit high. Not is that a big deal? No, not at all. Why? Because the overall level of TSH is perfect. Let's see here. Now we get into the most fun stuff of all right? The testosterone. Let's talk about his testosterone level. Whoa! What's his testosterone at? Total testosterone level, 11.4 nanomoles per liter. Now I should have said this earlier, guys, and I'm sorry, because not most, but a lot of people watching, maybe most, I have to check my YouTube stats, but last I checked, most people watching are from English-speaking countries, and I think it's like 50% of my viewers are from the US, all right? So something like that. So for most of you guys watching me, these metrics are going to seem strange. Well, he told me he had this taken in Australia, all right? So the measurements are going to be, the units of measurement are going to be different, you know, metric and such and so forth versus, well, they all use metric, but the unit conversion and the preferred units are different. So here's what you need to know. When we look at this, let's talk about testosterone for a second, because this is extremely important. If I look at this guy's testosterone level, he has a very low testosterone level. This guy, V, he wanted me to refer to him as, V has the testosterone level of a 70-year-old man. It sucks, it's garbage, it's terrible, and I'm telling you this because I care, okay? So how do I know this? Well, for you know, the people in the US watching, it says 11.4 nanomoles per liter, all right? What is that in nanograms per deciliter? In the US, and I'm sure other English-speaking countries, or predominantly English-speaking countries, what do we always measure testosterone in? If you live in the US and a lot of other countries, what do you measure? You know, I believe you measure testosterone in. You measure testosterone in nanograms per deciliter, NG to DL, all right? So in America, the standard range, labs vary a little bit, but the standard range, if you live in the US, total testosterone is 300 to 1,200 nanograms per deciliter. The conversion for nmol to liter, his 11.4, is the equivalent, guys, listen up, listen up. His conversion, based on the value I see here, 11.4, the conversion is 328. So he has 328 nanograms per deciliter of total testosterone level, all right? Remember I told you the normal range is 300 to 1,200. All right, converting for units here, he's at 328 when the normal range in the US is 300 to about 1,200, depending on what lab you go to. So looking at his level, all right, and converting for us Americans and people in other countries if they use that measurement, I'm sure there's some others, but converting, just looking at his total testosterone level, which is the most important value, guess what? He has the testosterone level of a 70-year-old, all right? So it's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. It's probably hard to get out of bed. You don't feel good. You need caffeine all the time. Your confidence, you're not in a good spot right here. So, yeah, that's terrible, all right? Sex hormone binding globulin, low. It's 10. It's below the normal range. And here's the thing, guys. You know, the sex hormone binding globulin, there's this huge myth, this huge garbage where people thought that SHBG or sex hormone binding globulin is bad, okay? They thought that, oh, you know, that basically grabs your testosterone and doesn't let your body use it. That's wrong. That's trash. Please don't listen to this. The sex hormone binding globulin helps your body transport testosterone into different cells and into different tissues, okay? It's a transporter. Okay, your body doesn't, and God didn't make your body to just produce testosterone and get grabbed and just be useless. Okay, that's even if you believed in evolution, which evolution is garbage. If you look at a human cell, it's more complicated than your car, and we have 37 trillion working in perfect unison. If you believe in evolution, there's something wrong with you. Obviously, somebody made that. Okay, gets me on. I'm sorry if I offended you, but I'm just being plain and simple. Okay, a car is more complicated than, or a single cell is more complicated than your car, and we have 37 trillion that all work in perfect unison. You're going to tell me that we evolved from a couple amino acids in a stupid pond? No, somebody made that, obviously. Anyways, and if I offended you, I don't care. I you know, that's just, you know, That's just how it is. I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is Lord, and that's the truth of the matter. Anyways, moving on. Whew, I get all worked up now. Anyways, moving on. Going back to sex hormone binding globulin, SHBG. A low level isn't good. Okay, yes, you have more free testosterone if the sex hormone binding globulin is, but the thing is, like I told you, both free and bound is important. The sex hormone binding globulin actually acts as a transport, helps transport into cells in different tissue, okay? So that actually hurts muscle mass if it's too low. DHAs, it's kind of high, okay? DHEAS, that's basically what that's showing me is from everything I know, the DHEAs are too high. That's showing us that basically his adrenals are working too hard. His adrenals more than likely are in overdrive, especially why? Because his total testosterone level is too low. Free testosterone, it sucks, just as like total testosterone. His cortisol, and guess what? Oh, look at this, his cortisol level. It's at the high end of the normal range. Well, you got it on the screen. So he's got too much cortisol. He's stressed out. He's got too much cortisol and stress hormones. His body is in, his stress hormones are too high. His DHEA is too high. And what is this? And his testosterone is too low. So his stress hormones are way too high because his adrenals are in overdrive. And why are his adrenals in overdrive? Because his testosterone level sucks, all right? So immediately, I would recommend either, we'll talk about how to fix that, but I would either, don't do anything I'm telling you without checking with your doctor. I have to say that first. But I would recommend immediately getting your natural production back with use of ganadorelin or triptorelin, and otherwise go on TRT immediately, because having low testosterone like this is not healthy long-term for your heart and for your body. You do not want to have the testosterone level of a 70-year-old. Why? Because cortisol and stress hormones are through the roof, as you can see in his blood work, and also DHEA is too high, okay? The adrenals are working too hard. You got to remedy this immediately, because you talked about health, but this, having low, guys, or V, and everybody listening, having low testosterone, in medical studies and research, having low testosterone is worse than having high testosterone. It's not healthy for you to always have your stress hormones elevated. Moving on. All right, last page, and we're done. All right, serum growth hormone, 6. It shows that it's high because it's over 3.1 milli-IUs per liter. Now, this is the stupidest test that anybody could ever run in the world. And this is worth nothing to me. Let me explain why. Growth hormone, if you are not injecting human growth hormone or taking CJC 1295 DAC, which causes a slow release of growth hormone, listen up. Unless you're doing those two things, this test is completely worthless. Now, why? The human body, if you are natural, the human body releases growth hormone in pulses, where it's in and it's out. You get a quick pulse, 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 pulse. So just getting a serum growth, he got a growth hormone test. Growth hormone test is probably the most useless test you can get. Why? Because if you get your blood drawn during a pulse, it's going to show it's through the roof. And if you get the blood drawn in between a pulse, it's going to show you have 0. All right. So it's not, this doesn't help us at all, because the human body releases anywhere, I believe it was 6 to 16 growth hormone pulses throughout the day, depending on what you're doing, your age, weight, genetics, how much you're exercising and whatever. So you get these huge rapid pulses throughout the day. Not rapid if you're younger. Okay. So we might have caught the beginning of a pulse or the tail end of a pulse, and that's why it shows high, but this test is 100% useless. If you want to, and listen up, this is not just for UV, but everybody watching. If you want a perfect and complete measure of how much human growth hormone your body is currently producing, you need to look at IGF-1. And this is what every single doctor knows, hopefully knows. If you're an endocrinologist, if you're a doctor who's any good, if you're you work in anything to do with hormones. Again, I work for a hormone replacement clinic, right? You know that you can't test somebody for growth hormone. You have to test for IGF-1. Why? Because growth hormone converts into IGF-1. IGF-1 has a very long half-life, okay, over 12 hours. So if you want to diagnose somebody, if you want to find out if somebody has, if you want to find out if somebody's producing low amounts, medium, or high amounts of HGH, you test them for IGF-1. You don't even bother doing an HGH test. All right. So what we're going to look at here, guys, is his IGF-1, 42 nanomoles per liter. Now on this range, and this I find extremely screwy, on this range it shows that it's in the normal range, 20 to 63. When I did I am guessing that this is just some screwy Australian thing, and please correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody knows something I'm not, but I ran the conversion multiple times from nanomole per liter into the American standard, or, you know, if you want to call it the English speaking standard, which is what? Nanograms per milliliter. So in America, right? You get your IGF-1 tested. The normal range for IGF-1, if you're let's just say a healthy 20-year-old male, you should be having an IGF-1 level. Again, this shows total growth hormone levels. Your level of IGF-1 in nanograms per milliliter should be between 300 to maybe 450, okay? If you are a healthy 20-year-old with good genetics. All right, I ran the conversion for him. His conversion comes out to 12 nanograms per milliliter, okay? So I ran the conversion multiple times because I couldn't believe it. I think it's just wrong. I think the reference range is just wrong because the units can't be wrong. So just looking at this, what do we see? What do we see is, you know, based on the conversion I ran, this guy has terrible, extremely low HGH levels, all right? So his testosterone levels trash and his HGH, IGF-1 levels are garbage, okay? So that's what we see based on the blood work. And even if somehow, you know, like I said, I ran the conversion, got something on my phone, you know, I ran the conversion like 4 different times to double check I was correct. I believe I'm correct. And if I'm correct, the 42 converts into 12 nanograms per milliliter, which is just like, he has the growth hormone output of like an 80-year-old man, okay? Now, even if I was completely wrong and we use their reference range, it's still not a good HGH level. I mean, this guy's younger. He should be at the top of the normal range. Should be 50% higher. But again, I am trusting that I've ran the conversion right. I did it like 4 times. So based on everything I see, this is what needs to be done. You got 2 choices, because your testosterone's garbage, and that's causing you problems with cortisol and stress hormones and DHEA. And also your HGH level is trash, and you're gonna age a lot faster. Your hair, skin, nails, everything is gonna be, you know, you're nowhere near optimal. So this is what I would recommend. Again, talk to your doctor before you do absolutely anything. I'm telling you. You have 2 choices. Choice number 1, maximize your testosterone production. I would take probably for your size, I would take continually 25 milligrams of zinc with your biggest meal per day, because if you take 50 milligrams every single day continually, eventually you could possibly overdo it with zinc. Not super likely, but to be on the safe side, I would recommend you take 25 milligrams of zinc with your biggest meal every single day continually, okay? That's first thing you can do. Second thing you can do, if you want to maximize natural production, second thing you can do, and I would highly advise you do this. Again, talk to your doctor before you do any of the stuff I'm recommending. But you want to get either triptorelin or ganatorelin, also known as its native GnRH, okay? And if you use that, then I would recommend you dose 100 micrograms once a week until your testosterone level comes back. Now, if you cannot get pharmaceutical grade ganatorelin, then I would get triptorelin from a good source. Again, try to make sure it's pharmaceutical grade. Again, health first. Do everything safely, legally, under doctor supervision. And if you get triptorelin, then I would just do 100 micrograms once every other week until testosterone levels are restored, okay? And let's say you do this and for some reason there's still trash, your testosterone doesn't come back, and also in conjunction while doing this, I would eat plenty of beef, pork, and chicken. Not super lean either, okay? I would eat plenty of moderate fat beef, pork, and chicken. Bring your cholesterol and triglycerides up so that your body has more cholesterol to turn into testosterone to get yourself healthy. Because just looking at your blood work, it shows that you're not eating enough healthy fats. Cut the carbs way down. The carbs don't even matter, okay? If you want, cut the carbs even completely out if you want to stay leaner, but bring your fats up and, eat slight, moderate fat, beef, pork, chicken, eat some butter, whatever. But bring your healthy fats and your cholesterol up a little bit so you have more cholesterol to turn into testosterone. And now that's option number one. That's the first thing you can do. The second, and also take about 0.5 milligram of melatonin before bed. That'll bring your HGH levels up naturally. Now that's what you can do naturally. All right, just giving it to you straight, fast, and easy. Now, if you want to, what am I saying? If that doesn't work or you don't want to do that, I would immediately recommend that you go to your doctor in Australia or whatever and you get them to prescribe you at least, based on your stats, 150 milligrams of testosterone, cypionate, or enanthate per week, okay? You want your total testosterone level. For both health and performance, I would go somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 nanograms per deciliter. You can do the conversion into whatever units you want. Guys, Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy, answer all you guys' questions. And if you want me to do a YouTube video on whatever, go to submit YouTube video request. We've been getting more requests than normal, so prices are probably gonna have to start going up. But guys, Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy, and we are boom, boom, out of here.